What's going on YouTube? Johnny here, back with another video for you guys. As always, hope everyone's been doing well and you had a great week. Today's video, we're making boneless beef short ribs in the crock pot. It's one of my favorites and it's always a feast. So with that being said, let's get into the cooking. Alrighty, for the ingredients, so of course we have our beef short ribs, which we've cut up into chunks like this. We have our chili powder. And a side note, you can use chipotle chili powder if you prefer. I just like the regular chili powder. We have our beef broth. We have salt, brown sugar, lime juice, sliced red onions, and then off to the side here we have our peach jello packet. And yes, you did hear me correctly, it is peach jello, which trust me, you'll understand later in the video. It makes a great difference when preparing this meal. A little strange, but like I said, trust me, it's a great ingredient for this dish. And then we have a crock pot right here. Alrighty, so in this bowl right here, and what I'm sprinkling over the beef right now are the dry ingredients that we've mixed together. So again, chili powder, salt, and jello. So then what I'm doing is just about half for now. And then I'll mix together. And then once it has a nice coating, I'll add the second half again. Alrighty, so slight change in plans. What cameraman and I actually decided what we're gonna do. We're gonna save a little bit. A little trick that you can do is save a little bit for the end, and then you can sprinkle that in the crock pot. So that way it just has a nice top layer as well. Alrighty, so the next step, what we're gonna do is brown the meat before adding it to the crock pot. So just adding some olive oil to the pan, we'll let that get nice and hot, and then we'll add the beef into it. Alrighty, so then now for browning, I'm just gonna add about half at a time, so that way we don't crowd the pan. And roughly about 5 to 6 minutes, but again, you just keep an eye on it and you can tell as you go along. So again, half batch, and we'll work on browning this. Alrighty, so then here is the model piece right here of the example of what you want. So then now we'll just go and flip each piece of the beef. Alrighty, so it's time to add to the crock pot. So what we'll do is just this, and then we'll work on the other batch. So the same thing. Alrighty, so then now we have everything in the crock pot. So what we'll do is just add the remainder of the dry rub seasoning that we did earlier in the video. There's that. And then in this bowl, I've also combined the lemon juice. Actually, I'm one step ahead. The lime juice to the chicken broth or beef broth. Jeez Louise, all over the place here. But first, I'll add the onion like that. And then now, beef broth, lime juice. Here we go. Add that over everything. And we're going to be doing it on high. So that's about 5 to 6 hours. Thank you. And if you do it on a low, that's about 8 to 10. But like I said, we're on high today. And we're started a little later. That's on me. So not the best time management today. So that's why we're doing that on high. And my favorite thing about the crock pot is you can unplug all air fresheners in the house and just let this thing add its scent to the entire house. It's a great smelling thing when it's cooking in the crock pot. It's one of my favorites. So we'll let that do its thing in the crock pot, and then I'll see you a little bit later in the video. Alrighty, so we started the crock pot around 12:45, and it's been about 5 hours. So here's what we're looking like right now. So then a good test you can do is either with a fork or a knife, but you can just see how tender the meat is. So that's good. So what I'll do, I'll turn the crock pot off. Set that off to the side because I'll deal with that later. But as far as what we're gonna do now, we have the rice. So basically, actually, do this. Okay, we're back. But we have rice pilaf. That's what we like on it. But you can do regular rice. You can do pasta. You can do potatoes. Even polenta. Just really depends on what you prefer. But our favorite is rice pilaf. So we'll go ahead and finish working on the gravy, get the rice started, and then also off to the side here, I've chopped up some spinach, and this makes a really good garnish for this dish as well. So that is that. we'll go ahead and see you over at the stove for the rice. Alrighty, so for the rice pilaf, it's fairly simple. So all you need is butter, water. You add the rice in, and then what we have here are the seasoning packets that come in each container or box of the rice. So we'll dump those in. That's that. We'll bring this to a boil on the proper eye of the stove. We'll bring it to a boil, and then once it reaches a boil, we'll turn it down to a medium and just let that simmer for about 20 minutes or so, and that'll be the rice. So now it's time to start working on the gravy. So what we'll do is, with a slotted spoon, just like this, we'll take the meat and the onions out. We'll let that drain for a couple. We'll set this off to the side, and then we'll get started on the gravy. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of the crock pot right here. And for the gravy now, we have our separate pot. So what we'll do, we'll take the liquid from the crock pot and pour that into this pot over here. And we also have our apricot jam. Now, we usually use peach, but we didn't have any peach jam today, so that's why we're using apricot. And then we also have the mixture of cornstarch and water, which will be for thickening up our gravy. Alrighty, so now we have this on a medium-high, so we'll just stir occasionally and let that come to a boil, and then we'll work on adding in the cornstarch, water, and the jam as well. Alrighty, so we have a nice boil going on in the pot right now, so I'll just give the cornstarch one last stir, and then we'll add slowly while stirring. Good, and I just like working in little increments to make sure I incorporate everything, and you want to make sure you get the walls and the sides and the edges of the inside of the pot as well. And look, you can immediately see that thickening up. Alrighty, so there's what we're looking like. We're good. Has a nice consistency to it. So then now we'll add the jam, and we'll just kind of just incorporate that and mix it around. Whoops. Yeah, it's looking good already. So nice. Alright, so now we'll pour the meat and onions back into the crock pot. Alright, and then now just give one last stir to the gravy. And then we'll pour all of that out back into the crock pot. Make sure that we get all of the gravy, because this right here is the good stuff. I love a good gravy. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys like a good gravy too. For me, you can't ever go wrong with that. And then we'll just kind of stir and incorporate the meat and the gravy in the crock pot. Look at that. Looks great. And now it's my second favorite part of the videos. First part is usually when it's time to eat. Second part is when it's time to make the plate. So I'll grab my plate, make that, and I'll see you then. Alright, so then my favorite thing to do with this dish is I do a bed of rice on the plate, and then I'll take the meat, gravy, and onions, and I'll just do a little layer, oh, thank you, a little layer across the top. And it's one of my favorite dishes. And we haven't had this, I don't know, it's been probably a couple years since we've made this. So I'm really looking forward to this. And it's a pretty nostalgic meal too for us since it's been so long. And here we go. We'll garnish that with some spinach. You know what? Feeling healthy today for my vegetables. So I add a little more. And that's that. That is the plate. And I'm like I said, I'm really excited. It's been a long time since having this, and it's time to eat. And you know what? The cameraman had a good idea. Since it's been so long, I should do a first bite reveal take. So we got a little bit of rice, spinach, onion, and meat. Here we go. Alright guys, and that concludes today's video. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, tuning in, and supporting me in the channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video and seeing the beef short ribs crock pot feast. As I said, it's one of my favorites, and it's been so long since having it, so really enjoyed today's video and making that. So again, I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you don't miss when I upload here on the channel. But I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, upcoming week. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.